Could Boro be finally pulling the trigger to bring Ryan Giles back to the club? Maybe. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and some exciting transfer rumours to bring you guys today, because Boro, of course, have had a fantastic summer window already. The actual window's only been open 4 days. Boro have already made 3 signings prior to that, and possibly the biggest yet might be on his way back, because it has been reported by the Hull Daily Mail and has been picked up by some of our local media as well that Boro are preparing to potentially launch a bid to sign Ryan Giles from Hull City. So it was reported on Hull City Live, or Hull Live, that it says Hull City's championship rivals Middlesbrough are preparing to launch a bid for Ryan Giles, which would see the defender move back to Teesside on a permanent basis, Hull Live understands. Giles completed a permanent move to Hull City last week ahead of the Tigers returning to pre-season training at Cottingham on Monday, and the defender has been a part of Tim Walter's group this week. Under the terms of Giles' loan move to the MKM from Luton Town in January, City had an obligation to buy the 24-year-old former Wolves youngster in a deal thought to be worth around £4 million. As expected, that move was ratified last Thursday, with him penning a 3-year contract with the option of a 4th. So, could a player who has only been at Hull for 6 months, who has already signed permanently due to a pre-agreed obligation, and has also penned a 3-year, potentially 4-year contract, be out the door already? Now, the Ryan Giles saga is a very, very intriguing one, because, of course, he was an absolute fan favourite back in the 22-23 season, when he was one of the many illustrious loan players that Boro signed that season. Him, along with Stefan, Mowat, Archer, they gave Boro's squad a ridiculous boost in quality, one that almost got us into a fight for automatic promotion. In the end, of course, we fell short in the playoffs to Coventry, and all of them loans went back. That has since left a gaping hole in Boro's squad from a quality point of view, and that's what's probably led to us having last season as a more transition, rebuild-like season, where we've learnt to not rely on loans as much, because the drop-off from 22-23 to last season in terms of quality was huge. However, out of all of them players that we lost, Ryan Giles was definitely the one that I think was the most realistic to come back. You know, you're looking at Alex Mowat, who went back to West Brom. He maybe was just as equal. Stefan was injured, so couldn't have come back anyway. Ramsey and Archer were obviously going for upwards of £20+ million. So I believe Boro's interest in Archer has been there since the moment he left. But of course, in the summer of 2023, he was lured to Luton, who got promoted to the Premier League. And of course, in today's climate, if you're a championship team, you have no chance competing with a Premier League side. And you can't forgive a player wanting to test himself in the Premier League, taking that opportunity when it is handed to him. And of course, Premier League wages are another factor which I believe Boro couldn't compete with when looking at Giles and Luton at the time. Of course, he did go to Luton, and it was a move I didn't understand. I'm going to be brutally honest. Luton are a side who had just got promoted, would expect to defend a lot more than they would have in the Championship, expect to be out of possession a lot more than they were in the Championship. So why bring in a predominantly attacking left-back whose weakness is defending when you've already got a player there like Alfie Doughty as well? It just didn't make sense from a squad perspective when you've already got such a great left-back, and plus Ryan Giles would not fit a side who are getting promoted and needing to defend more often than not. He would get caught out defensively quite often. He struggled to nail down a position, really, permanently in the Luton Town side, and that led to him leaving within 6 months, of course. In January, he moved on to Hull City on loan, and a part of that deal was, as we now know, that they would have an obligation to buy him for £4 million, which again is really, really odd. You know, I know Hull went absolutely crazy last January with loan signings, but to sign a player who you were automatically committing to buying after only 6 months is bold, brave and maybe a little bit stupid. All it would have took is Giles to get injured severely in that period, and you're suddenly paying $4 million for a player who's barely played for you. He might not fit the system, or your manager might get sacked. Would you believe it? 2 of them 3 things actually happened. So he was signed with the obligation to buy permanently under Liam Rosenior. He's now been sacked. So not only is there a question of, is he right for the current system in terms of Hull City? Because when we played them towards the end of last season, he wasn't allowed to cross the halfway line. So I don't think in terms of their system, Ryan Giles fits at all. But also there's the question of, will the new manager even want him there? Will the new manager even want to play with the back 4? Where will he fit Ryan Giles? There's no guarantee when there's a change of manager that he will automatically remain a part of his plans. So yeah, to basically nail down £4 million to a player when so many things could change was bold, and that's why I don't believe his future is fully set at Hull. I think they've obligated and they've put the money in and they've bought him from Luton because they'd signed the contract which said they had to do that. I don't actually think Hull City are 100% certain that they want to keep Ryan Giles, and by the sounds of it, the player isn't 100% he wants to stay there either. So the question is, will Boro sign him? Now, I think from a Boro perspective, we've waited patiently. Our interest in Giles has remained since the day he left. I know we've obviously brought Engel in, Bangura, which of course we're going to do because we had to replace that quality, and for all we know, Giles might have had a fantastic breakthrough season in the Premier League and gone on to play for a much higher club. So we couldn't have waited around for a player who we quite honestly might never have seen again, but I think the door was always open with the potential that either Luton come back down or he moved back down, and that's exactly what has happened. And it's a lot easier for a championship club to negotiate with a fellow championship club because, again, like I said earlier, you can compete more wage-wise. It's not as big of a step up. It makes more sense for the player, and I think Boro maybe are looking at now as the potential time to pounce and trigger the attempt to try and buy Ryan Giles. But I think a big issue is both Hull and Boro being rivals, because Hull City have just paid £4 million for him. So you wouldn't blame them if they desperately tried to give this a bit of time just to get it to work or to see if it's going to work. You know, you don't pay £4 million for a player and then get rid of him straight away. And although that might be stupid business on Hull's part and it might backfire on them completely, they're going to want to, at least if they are to sell him, get that money back in this window. On top of that, they're selling him to a direct rival in Boro, who will be fighting them for playoffs, if not more, this season. So the hesitancy around selling him to Boro is one thing, making back the money they've just bought him with is another. So from a Boro point of view, this could be really tricky. This could be a really awkward deal. And I'm head and heart on this. And I did mention this briefly in my TikTok reaction video that I did, and I'm going to quickly segue you guys to head over to my TikTok, link is in the description, where I do give instant reactions to a lot of these rumours and news when they drop. And I said in that video, my head says no, my heart says yes. Because of course, going back to his loan season at Boro, he was absolutely outstanding. A pivotal part of that amazing season that we had. He played 45 games for Boro in that season, 11 assists in that time, and he was just a fan favourite. Boro fans loved him, he loved it here. It was a marriage made in heaven. It was one of them, you never fall in love with a loan player. It's just a shame we couldn't compete with Luton and the aura of the Premier League. I believe if we had got promoted, we'd have 100% tried to bring him in and continue that relationship. But of course, that didn't happen. So for me, my heart says I would love Ryan Giles back at Boro because we've seen it work. We've seen how he excels in Michael Carrick's system. When we push forward as a 5, we sort of drop back into a back 3 with Smith or Ayling, it could be, the 2 centre-backs, and Giles is given full rein to bomb on down the left-hand side, and you'll have the inside forward, whether it's Riley McGree cutting inside, leaving all that space down the left for Giles to bomb on and put them unbelievable deliveries into the box. It works. It's proven. He knows the system, he knows the club, he knows the coach, and as I say, from reports, he would be more than willing to come back. And I believe out of all the loans he's had, the move to Luton, the move to Hull, this is not me just saying this from a biased Boro point of view. I believe in Ryan Giles' shoes, Boro would be his preferred destination. However, my heart says that, my head says different, because as I say, Boro have committed to bringing in Lucas Engel and Alex Bangura, and I wouldn't say either have blown us away. I think Engel's been okay, doesn't maybe offer as much offensively as Giles, but I think slightly better defensively. Bangura, I think, probably is a better player all round and is probably better going forwards and backwards, but was unlucky with injuries. So if Ryan Giles comes back, what happens to Engel and Bangura? Do we play one of them further forward? Do we utilise one as a left-sided winger, potentially? I think Bangura or Engel could do that. Engel and maybe Bangura were both wingers in their earlier career, so it wouldn't be alien for them to do that. But Boro's left-sided wingers don't play down the outside, they cut inside, which wouldn't suit either of them. So we'd have to tweak the system. Not too sure how it would work, or if maybe Boro would actually get rid of either Engel or Bangura to bring back Ryan Giles, and that is the balancing act, because if you're bringing in a player for 4 million, you got to play him. For me, if you're Boro, if you're buying a left back for 4 million, you've got to play him. So that's where I think the balancing act is tough, but I think the temptation to bring him back is just, if it's there for Boro, I feel like we'll do our best to take it. But I don't think we could pay 4 million for him, and that's my other point. I don't think Ryan Giles is worth 4 million, if I'm honest. I think he's worth a bit less, and I think with Boro's limited budget being a championship club, I wouldn't be comfortable with us putting that much money into one player. So we'd have to try and work around that. Maybe it's another loan to buy and we offer to pay Hull the money later down the line. Maybe we pay $1 million up front and the rest in instalments. I don't know. There's so many different factors going on here. I mean, Hull needing to sell. There's been rumours that Hull are maybe in a little bit of financial shit given all the money they committed at the end of last season. So do Hull need to sell Ryan Giles? Is this £4 million that they've had to pretty much commit to paying Luton? Are they going to want to get that back as soon as possible? Maybe. So there's so many factors that could determine what will happen, but my gut feeling is Boro will try, but it could be the sort of deal that's so complex it could go deep into the transfer window. So we'll see what happens. Watch this space. It's one of them really intriguing narratives. I'm so intrigued to see where this goes, not just from a Boro fan point of view, but as a football fan in general. It's really intriguing to see a player just sign for a club because he was obligated to, already maybe going out the door to a rival. It's quite something. So watch this space. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you believe in these rumours? Where do you think they'll go? Do you think Ryan Giles will end up back at the Boro? And if there are any Luton fans, Hull fans or Boro fans who have a thought on Ryan Giles and where they think he should end up, let me know in the comments below. And if you're a Boro fan, let me know whether you think you'd have him back when we've got Engel, Bangura, etc. Is there a place for him to come back into Boro's side? Let me know. But until next time, guys, hit a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Lots more Boro and football related content coming as we're heading very close to pre-season now. I will be going to a couple of pre-season games and maybe doing a vlog or two, so subscribe if that interests you. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.